Hello everyone, I hope you are staying warm in these crazy cold snaps that we are experiencing throughout the country. Florida has never witnessed, I think in 40 years, something so drastic. It was in the 30s last night. I'm doing a quick video. Notice there's no formal introduction or anything like that because it is just really cold, even though you look out and it is a gorgeous day out. The sun is completely shining through, no clouds, super blue skies, but then at nighttime is a completely different story. I'm actually back here looking at everything the way it looks. I don't know how well these things are going to fare. I did not have the time to cover any of my orchids on my trees with any burlap or towels like some people requested. Unfortunately, I run a business, so I had no time to do this. I was here last night putting orchids in my garage. I will show you now in a minute. My sulcata turtle that is usually running around here is in our master bedroom because it was just way too cold for her to be out there. And I don't know how these vandas are going to do in a couple of days. We'll know because the effects don't happen immediately. They start happening in a couple of days after the whole situation has taken place. What I find amazing is all the birds that are flying around. How did they stay warm last night? And my outdoor cats, they're all doing great. I was a little worried about them. The problem here, it wasn't so much the fact that it was in the 30s. It was that the wind factor was so strong, it almost looked like hurricane winds. I went to bed pretty late, almost at midnight, after finishing putting everything away. And I literally took a muscle relaxer because my lower back was killing me from carrying certain things that were too heavy. And some of the extremely heavy stuff had to stay behind. I just couldn't do it. It was just too much for me. It's what I said, save what you can, and when you can't, pray for it. Right, little girl? See, Savannah's doing great. She did a great. I did leave a little hole in my, like an opening in my quick tent where there's a heater. And I allow her to go in and out. So that way if she wants to go in there and stay warm, she's allowed to. Which I think that's probably where she stayed last night. But as you can see, guys, if you've been watching my channel and you've been following me, you know how full this usually looks of plants. I had to pull every single one out. Now these are kind of wrapped already into my column here, so I would have to rip most of those roots out, and I decided not to. I left them alone. We'll see how well these Schomburgkias do. And now you'll see my beautiful greenhouse looking very empty. And yes, guys, I pulled every single one of these orchids myself. Now this monster here weighs like you would not believe because it's full of lava rock, and it's just a very heavy piece. By the time I was done last night, I just couldn't do it, and I hope it does well. In here it's not as breezy as it is out there. The wind factor is what really kills it. My aeroids and ferns, I did group together this way. I hope my bat plant survives this. My monster vandas, I cornered them here so that way they could be away from the heavy breeze. So I'm going to see how well they do. Because these two vandas here, I have that one there too that's pretty big. These two vandas, I had no space for it. And I'll show you. I even have plants inside my house, which I normally don't do because we have a lot of critters here in this area. I'm next to the Everglades. And when you bring plants inside, you bring all kinds of things, snakes, spiders, all kinds of things. I've tried it before, and I've found snakes in my house. I've found very big spiders. My cat's playing with them. So I was not about to start putting any of these plants inside my house and congesting it with any kind of pest. So I tried the best I could by putting them in my work area, which is behind this concrete wall. But yes, what I'm going to do now is, as you can see, the concrete has a little bit of green moss. So I'm going to definitely do a lot of pressure cleaning. I have a pressure cleaner. I do love to pressure clean. And I'll pressure clean all my wood. This wood is all pressured wood. So you can actually pressure clean it and get rid of all that green moss. So it's going to be really nice and clean when I bring everything back. I'm going to remodel everything in here, kind of maybe push this back a little bit more. I was also even thinking about putting another one of these on this side and kind of do like a square, but I'm not sure if I want to do that because it's going to take a lot more space, and I want to keep the whole open area going because it makes it easier to work back here. So this is what it looks like now. So next year, if we have another cold front, I've already spoke to Lewis. What we're going to do is we're going to buy tarp now that we can actually put all the way around and seal this whole greenhouse and put the heaters inside. So that way we don't have to move anything around. This is the second time we've had a massive cold front and I've had to move things in and out, which is not a good idea. I did keep my dendrobiums, my bigger dendrobiums. These things are very heavy. I was told that the dendrobiums of all the orchids could actually handle it way better than most orchids. Is that true or not? I don't know, but we will find out. But I was told that by several different people. They said your hybrid dendrobiums will probably hold on better than other plants. My Hoyas, I had no place to put them. They had to stay here. Now, what I did do, guys, is I didn't water anything. I watered maybe like 3 days before this cold front was coming in. And so everything kind of dried out, and it's much better like that because with this cold weather, everything's dormant. Nothing here is really sleeping. That's why it's okay to keep them. My God. And I always keep this door open, never closed, and I just realize how bad it is. So this is going to get pressure cleaned ASAP. Anyways, let's open here so you can see the mayhem. This is what it looks like. Now, I did carefully place everything. Even though in this video it may look like everything's on top of each other, it really is carefully placed. I have 2 banquet tables that I put here in the back. And yes, we actually lifted the grid, Lewis and I, and brought it with the hanging mounts. This was so heavy. This is where I threw my back off a little bit. But we felt we were running out of time, and I said, look, if I try to take everything out and then bring the grid and then put everything back on, the cold weather was already coming in. It was getting really bad, and I said, let's just do the best we can, bring this in, and that way I don't have to work double. Let me close here because it really is cold. It is so cold. It's 48 degrees right now, and even though it's sunny, it feels very cold. So I did give myself like a little walkway here. Let's see if I can make it, because now I did close it up with the Schimberkas. Schimberkas were the last ones I got. But yes, here are most of my blooming orchids. This beautiful Ludminiana just started opening, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys are doing so good in this weather. But see, everything is on the tables. I hung pretty much all my Vandas. Every gift that I've gotten from you guys as far as orchids and from vendors is inside this place. I was not going to lose those. My big Annie Bell, look, see how yellow this is? This is just from last week getting cold. So, we're gonna see what happens once all this is over with. I did bring all my cacti inside. I was told that they do not do well in this weather. I thought that maybe because they're from the desert, they could handle, but then I did some further research and they said that these type of cactus, a lot of them are hybrid, or a lot of them are not really desert cactus, so they probably won't do well. I brought them all. My Holy Ghost plant, there was a lot. So my goal is, when I start putting everything back, I'm probably going to start counting them to see how many I have. as I start putting them back. I'm gonna try to do that. I don't know if that's even gonna, if halfway through it I'm just gonna give up, but I am gonna try to do that and count every single thing that I put back. It should be interesting to see what number I end up with. But yeah, this is my new reality. This is what we're going through. And all my friends, I've been talking to them and they've been doing the same thing. Laz did a really good job with his. He covered, but he has a smaller away. His greenhouse is probably the size of this, more or less, and actually maybe a little bit smaller. And so he covered all of the outside because it's more of a screen house. He covered it with tarp, and he did that pretty quick. So that's probably what I'm going to do next year. And that way I won't have to suffer picking everything up and putting it here. But all these, like these bigger pieces, my God, after 2-3 hours of doing this, they felt like they weighed 200 pounds. But see, there's even, there's Vandas everywhere. I didn't realize how many Vandas I owned until I started moving them. That means I don't think I'm going to be buying any more Vandas, to tell you the truth. They really do take up a lot of space. I know, Mama, you're cold, I'm cold. All right. Oh, and by the way, I should have shown you this. There's a heater right there. So it's nice and warm in there. All right, let me take you to where my phals are. Actually, I think my phals are in a better spot than those other ones, because that has a lot of ventilation on the roof, but this is completely sealed. Ah, it's so nice and cozy in here. Feels warm. So everything here seems to be fine. I do see a couple of leaves dropping, but look, everything's in bud. And this just feels so good. It feels so warm around my legs. But yeah, everything seems to be okay in here. This one this is my Texas Giant. This happened last week. I think it was a little too sensitive to the cold snap that we had last week. So I think that one's already gone. Maybe when I go in April, I'll get one at Kroll Smith, because that one's that was the very first phal I got from Julian 6 years ago. And it did so well for 6 years, and oh look, it's budding. So it doesn't mean, guys, by the way, it doesn't mean that the plant is dead. It means that the leaves suffered. Okay, so when you go through these cold snaps, it doesn't necessarily kill your orchid every time. It's more of a damage on the outer organism of the plant instead of the roots. As long as the roots are protected, your plant will come back. But the leaves are the ones that are exposed to the cold, and in many cases, if you leave them outside, to the wind is really the killer there. That will damage your leaves, and then it looks like the plant is far gone. So this Texas Giant, I have a very strong feeling it will come back. I'll probably start seeing baby leaves coming out in spring, but I still want to get another one because it's going to take a very long time for that one to bounce back. But then you have these other ones, like from Wilson Orchids, that are doing spectacular and blooming great. So yeah, even though we've had the cold weather on and off for about a week and a half now, maybe 2 weeks, this is the strong one, the really bad one that we were expecting. It's going to be here until Wednesday. Today is Sunday. So by Wednesday, I hear things are going to start picking back up and warming up, and we should not go through this again. But, you know, it's just, these weather patterns are really, really insane. And as you can see, Savannah does not miss a moment to be in the spotlight. Right, Savannah? Mama? Yeah. Say hi to your fans. Say hi to your fans. She likes it in here. She's like, look, she touches that heater and she doesn't even budge. You know that's hot, little girl. So anyways, this is the current situation. I wanted to give you guys an update. I know some of you have been wanting for me to put something up of what to do with your orchids. I'm sorry I didn't do it before. I personally didn't have the time to do it. I barely had time for myself to even do all this. That's why I told you it was yesterday last minute that I had to leave work running, and I got here at 3 o'clock and started doing all of this moving around. I had like 30% of the orchids already in my garage, but I still needed to do the rest. I couldn't leave everything out. And what happened was, we were told that you guys are getting sort of a what's in bloom here. A very raw, unedited what's in bloom. What happened was that we were told it was only going to go to the 40s, the high 40s, and that's still doable with some orchids. But once we got an alert in our area, in my area actually, which we never get any kind of crazy alerts like that because it's always warm down here, we got an alert for frost, and that's what scared me. And my friend Wendy sent me some information, and she said, look, there's a frost warning in your area, and the winds are going to go so high up in intensity that it's going to make it feel like it's in the 20s. There's no way the orchids will survive out there. So I had no other choice than to bring 98% of my orchids inside. The other 2%, like I said, I'm hoping that they do well, and it'll serve as a test. It'll serve as, in the future, I'll know how strong the orchid can handle these low temperatures. And if they die on me, you know, it'll be a very sad thing. But the positive side is that there's a lot of orchid shows coming up. There's a lot of orchid events. There's a lot of nurseries to go to, and they could always be replaced. What cannot be replaced is us. We need to keep ourselves safe from these crazy weathers. So other than that, I think everything so far looks pretty good. Nothing looks overly stressed out. I'm seeing a yellow leaf here and there, but like I said, like the song from the band Asia, only time will tell. Only time will tell. So see, I leave this little hole here, and she goes in and out, so she stays warm. And I know some of you are saying, well, the heater, what if she's a cat, she's smart, she's not going to get burned. When she starts feeling the heat, she moves away. All right, guys, I think I'm going to cut it off here. I wasn't planning on doing a video, but I think it was my duty to show you guys what's going on here at the ranch. And I hope this, help enlighten you guys a bit on what your orchids may be going through and what you're doing. I do have some viewers that told me they were not going to put their orchids inside. They were actually going to leave them where they were at. They had too many, and they were a little stressed out about it, but they said at the end of the day, we'll learn and see how strong these orchids really are. And I mean, that's how we learn, right? Mistakes are not mistakes, they're lessons. All right, my friends, here, let me turn it around. I feel weird not saying goodbye. But anyways, I hope this served you as some type of, like somebody told me, they said, thanks for telling me that, a friend of mine, because I was texting, and they said, thank you for telling me that I have a little bit more peace of mind. So I hope this brings you a little bit of peace of mind if you put your orchids inside or in your garage or anywhere like that. It is way better than leaving them out here, because the wind factor hitting those leaves is what makes it really dangerous. All right? So until next time, I am Nelson. You're watching Nature Nell in this chaotic season. And remember to always keep it green and keep it warm. See you next time.